After a few days visiting El Salvador, we successfully navigated across the bar at Bahia del Sol and headed south. Prior to checking into Nicaragua, we wanted to make one quick stop in the Gulf of Fonseca to visit Isla Meanguera and, if the winds allowed it, Isla de Tigre in Honduras. It would be a quick overnight sail of 70 nautical miles along the coast of El Salvador for a morning arrival in the Gulf.
So here we are as we are heading into Isla Meanguera. It's looking forward to seeing it. It's actually in the guidebooks. It is purported to look a lot like the Gulf Islands, San Juan Islands up near BC and the Washington coast. So we'll see about that. Carla's steering away there, as you can see, as we're through, we hope, most of the long lines and fishing boats, which has made this an exhausting 70-mile passage. A couple of anchorages. One of them is near a hotel and a village. One of them is more secluded, we think, and more protected from the Papagayos, which are the very strong winds that are supposed to pop up tomorrow. Carla is driving hands-free there. Interesting tidbit of information here. So this is bordered by 3 different countries. So the 2 nearest islands that we see here and the mainland here belongs to El Salvador. The island in the background there in the middle is the Isla de Tigre, which is part of Honduras, which then continues behind it. And then if I pivot and look on the other side of the Gulf there in the distance, a little bit hazy, that's Nicaragua. So it's shared by 3 countries. They've had quite a few disputes over it in recent years, but it seems to be fairly well settled now. And visiting the little islands and the bays here is pretty straightforward. No issues with checking in since we've been checked into El Salvador, but we will be checking into Honduras when we go back to Isla de Tigre. And this is where Carla's going to put Kevin's rambling in on the video. Look at this, Carla's using her mind to control the wheel. Woo! More later from the psychic journeys of Gargoyle. So we're anchored off of Isla Meanguera, and Guerra is the village actually that we're anchored by here in this little marine bay.
And we're having celebratory snacks. Oh yeah, Parmesan cheese and cheddar cheese, prosciutto and some crackers, and a scavenger. Oh, there's our scavenger right there. We are just gonna pull up anchor. We spent the night here. Just a calm anchorage to get some sleep. Great little anchorage, just a couple pangas that go in and out that are tucked down in the corner, but other than that, nice and calm. A little rolly because of the southern swell, but we are on our way to Isla de Tigre. So we're coming into Isla Tigre, and on the port side of the boat there's a big reef. You can kind of see the darkness in the water. So we're tucking in between the reef and the island. And then we're going to go around the one point there and tuck into a little town which is called Amanda. We aborted because the winds were really bad, so we thought we'd come back to our other anchorage where the winds were much calmer, and this is what we have. 35 knots, pretty much straight on the nose. We're gonna tuck in, let out a whole bunch of chain, and ride the Papagayos overnight. Not a fun day. Not a fun day in the history of Gargoyle. We've waited a couple of hours. We still have a ton of chain out, but the seas and the winds have calmed from this afternoon. So I think we've learned our lesson from the Papagayos. So we're just gonna watch the sunset and enjoy the nice steady roll of a southerly swell. Day 2. The Papagayos are still blowing like crazy, but actually this anchorage is relatively sheltered. It got really bad yesterday afternoon, so we're thinking it's going to get really bad this afternoon, but we have our fingers crossed. We had up to 40 knots blowing through here. But we still have about 200 feet of chain out, and we haven't moved at all. It's a beautiful day, and supposedly tomorrow there's a little break in the weather, and we're going to escape. So what do we do in days like this?
Crossword puzzles.
Crossword puzzles. Kevin made pancakes.
Coffee. Pancakes.
Books.
It's time to rest and relax.
And I'm taking some binge watching of Netflix, babe. And we're going to skip Honduras because the Papagayos don't want us to go there.
So it is a beautiful sunrise here on the 16th of February. We've been here for a few nights waiting out some Papagayos. Papagayos being the parrot winds, I believe it calls to. Typically out of the north, and they are characterized by strong gusts rather than by being steady. So we've been seeing some strong gusts overnight. Last night wasn't as bad as the night before, but I just wanted to show you here on our display. You can see that our max wind speed when we reset it last night overnight was 27. Kind of fun though, you can kind of see how we bounced around last night on our track. We did set an anchor alarm last evening and track that. We ended up moving out the distance that we could swing on the anchor to about 550 feet, and then swinging in a full circle. That gave us the circumference so that we could sleep without the alarm going off. But if the alarm or if the anchor did give way, then that made sure that we had plenty of warning before we hit the beach. And as you can see, with the sun coming up on it, there's the beach. So we wanted to know before we started to move so we could get up, and there's the lovely co-captain over here getting ready.
Yes.
Our journey to Puesta del Sol, Nicaragua would be a short 50 nautical mile sail. With an early morning departure, our expected arrival would be mid-afternoon to align with slack tide to enter into the estuary and tie up to the marina.
Is hanging on for dear life. Predict wind said we would have about 15 knots was going to be our highest wind speed. That would be sustained, and that we'd have gusts about 20 to 22 knots this morning, slowly dying down. Guess what?
Sustained winds of over 20. Good 22 knots to 25 knots sustained all morning with gusts in the low 30s.
But Gargoyle is all reefed up. She's given her to the point, and we are not hoping but praying when we get away from this wind tunnel from Nicaragua that we'll be in the lee of the land, and things are going to calm down a bit. But welcome to the Papagayos. Whoop whoop, whoop whoop.
At least we're going fast.
Yeah.
Just switched off helm duties. Herbie quit. He left. He cashed it in. So our autopilot stopped. It was too much winds. We had sustained 30 knots coming across. We were gusting over 40 at the end before we got it calm enough to where I can at least take a little video. And that back there is where we just came across. Swivel back around, or let's tighten it a little bit, get the gust. And that's where we're going, is around that point. We want to get closer to shore because that's where it stays a little calmer on the waves, and that's what was nailing us. We took a lot of waves over the boat, etc. Captain Carla, so what do you think? How's your morning so far?
Well, we probably had, I would say, closer to 50 knots of wind. So we were forced to go upwind and Herbie on standby and just go on the main. So right now we're just on the main. Probably doing 8.5 to 9 knots against the current. And again, I'm just praying that when we get that corner, things will pull back a little bit.
So yeah, retirement. Some guys golf. and other women sail the seven seas.
Tell us about our sailing conditions.
Right now, we're definitely in the wine and cheese category of sailing. We could have a spread laid out on the table that's so calm and peaceful for the sail. This has been a day of many different conditions. So right now we're sailing down the coast of Nicaragua. We've got a volcano off the port here, and then about 90 degrees off the beam here, Carla's going to show you some sugar cane that they're burning off. And we can smell it. It's really sweet smelling. And then she'll show you some of the ash.
Down here we have this black stuff that's kind of flying into our cockpit. It's ash.
Ash from the sugar cane.
Ash from the sugar cane, we think. There's the volcano. Maybe some ash will flow by, but you can kind of see the smoke on the coastline right there. It's crazy. It smells like a sweet, sweet cigar. Okay, we're coming into Puesta del Sol. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little entrance, and we're just using 2 navs to make sure we're good. And there should be a marker here, and we found it, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
We found the marker. I'm not going to use that marker.
It's way over there on the beach, right about there, and it should be right about here. But we've got one in front of us, so we're gonna turn towards it, and I think that should put us through. So we have just entered the estuary here at Puesta del Sol. It's so pretty and so very, very shallow. We're just gonna come around the corner, and we should see our marina. We pulled into Marina Puesta del Sol, tied up Gargoyle, and now we're settled in, headed up the docks to the office. The marina requests 48 hours notice prior to your arrival to allow them time to arrange for customs and immigration to travel to the marina to process your entry into the country. This makes the entire process seamless and easy for cruisers. With our paperwork in hand, we headed up to the resort's main office to check in with the marina manager Juanita and start the process for entering into Nicaragua.
Buenos dias.
Yes.
Hello. Juanita? See? We've heard you.
Hi, Juanita.
Yes.
All of the guys came down to the marina, and the whole check-in process took us like all of 10 minutes, most of which running around trying to find change for US dollars. We are officially hoisted. Yay!
Day, another country. My Nicaraguan happy dancing. Shirt on. Should I put my shirt on?
Kevin doesn't have his shirt on. I'm still putting that in the bloopers.
Excuse me, I think I got a fish stuck in my throat from having it lodged at high speeds.
He's having technical difficulty. Any second now, he's gonna get that flag on there.
I don't know, shave like Robert Redford would do, or make coffee or something.